Yeah, it's going to be K'Sante again here into the Gnar. A matchup that Gnar was picked before K'Sante's nerfs into as a counter. This is Zeus' Gnar. This is his debut pick, one that he got very famous for early on in his career. You've opted into this because you wanted to pick the Victor, and we will have to see if Zeka's Victor performances have improved here because he is playing against the King of Azir 100 games on this pick now.
Yeah.
This was his 100th game.
This one right here.
And now Zeka is tested again in a different way. We talked about it in game one. The Taliyah pick. How deep is this guy's champion pool going to go?
Here we are. The Zeri and the Vi picked together, so that owner doesn't just pick the Vi. You know, Vi and Nautilus, the two where it's kind of just point and click ults. You would love to just click onto the Zeri and shut her down in team fights, so they deny both essentially because Lucian's already picked, so you're not going to play Lucian Nautilus.
Nope.
And so he goes for Nocturne instead. That's not a... It's not one you see oftentimes picked, but when you consider how it will have access to a backline and it will be able to zone away Zeri potentially in some of these team fights or a low mobility AP mage like a Victor, you begin to see the lines here for T1.
The ability to point-and-click collapse on a Zeri is so incredibly powerful. In the ability to turn the lights off and gank assist from, like, anywhere basically on the map, post 6. You can set up for an Emperor's Divide without being seen, without being spotted, as we're going to see the early trade here. That was very well played by Viper, but still, you know, it is level 1. No barrier used.
Yeah.
See if they try to all-in at level 2.
Heal used by Guma and Karya. They want to stay healthy so that they can stay in the lane so they can try to push for level 2, but they're not going to get ahead of Zeri and Lulu. Oh. Just ain't the way it goes.
Not this time. Big damage there for that poke from Guma. And this is one of those lanes where you hold your breath. With these 4 players down here, you know action hits at level 2. And here it comes.
Yep. As looking for the Glitter Lance is going to kind of hit Ignite used here onto Viper, as he will also use the barrier. And this is why we approach the Zeri with kind of
it's
hesitation.
It's a matchup where there have been some nerfs, right? And there is a level 2 all-in potential, but it played well, and the Glitter Lances don't hit. You know, the Lucian is going to do more damage, right? His first strike Lucian is, we mentioned this earlier, 100 games of Azir for Faker.
Congrats. Huge milestone.
Still 5 behind BDD, hard to believe. And, you know, this matchup now, like, Life is just trying to hold these minions here. Flash.
Well, he held the cannon as Viper had to back at level 2. And if you win at level 1, begin to slowly press in your favor. If you're Zeri Lulu, it kind of happened, but immediately Guma and Karya, second they hit level 2, were able to get some very nice trades.
Now, also note that Owner is playing around topside this game because the bottom lane, is kind of self-explanatory, is going well for Guma, Karya. It is a Vi that could have come down and punished if he passed bottom side, but did not. So now Nocturne is going to be able to maybe make some plays here topside if Kingen decides to continue to push the issue here, as he is. Zeka's early laning phase, by the way, we talked about it. He's played this champion once this season. It was very popular early on, but he's 0-1 on the champ. Hasn't played it the second time until today. And both of these players just got back at the same time. No massive advantages. And losing Flash as the Lulu in the bottom lane isn't actually going to matter all that much unless there is a follow-up gank or a bubble.
This is the kind of trade you can get. Life, you know, he had to use his Flash because he was trying to hold the wave for his AD carry that had to back early. Just not a fun time here for Zeri Lulu at this point in time. Guma gonna sail ahead in CS once he picks all this up. He's got the wave in a very nice spot now.
back here with the push coming through from Viper. Just going to grab a longsword and a dagger. So not a whole lot he's gained this early on into the game, but picking up what he can. As the first Drake will spawn here in 5 seconds. And with the way that this bottom lane is held, could definitely be T1 trying to grab it early. Level 6 coming online for Faker here very shortly. And that is when you have kill pressure here too in the mid lane. If you get Zeka's flash, that Drake fight becomes so much easier. The fight for Herald especially becomes very strong, as Owner will be hitting level 6 around then. It can make the fight so hard to play out as you try to approach the pit. I mean, this is by no means over down here on the bottom side with the early Dirk, but very much more difficult for Viper and Life to play out, and they will never have Drake Prio for this first one. As you see, Owner is rotating mid.
Yeah, Nocturne mostly just a kind of power farm until 6 jungler. It's kind of like it's almost like a worse version of Wukong that offers something different, as Viper, a little bit of trouble, has to barrier and use heal on the way out. He's trading secondary summoners.
He is again down. Owner is potentially set up some additional damage here. He's seen on this ward, and this is going to zone Viper out of further CS. This is really frustrating, and now this is starting to compound the lead once again. Plate gold going over, right? Okay, there it is.
There we go.
Plate gold going over. And they have so many control wards in the river. Zeka's also pushed into turret. Had to back a second time. Faker winning this lane now.
Owner didn't have any camps, so he was, pressuring bot, as we saw. And then he just pings the Grump that's just coming up. And now actually trying to punish Klid as the fear will come in. Do have Zeka moving over, but there's a level 6 Azir as he picks up both of them, and Zeka, even though he flashes away, he will be going down as the lethal tempo Nocturne puts in so much DPS.
So 2 kills going over to T1 here early. It's already going to be a 1.5 thousand gold lead plus Drake. And this is set up by Faker. He has an early Dark Seal, 3 stacks picked up already. So very far accelerated in this game. Goes ahead and picks up his first mythic component, and you look at HLE trying to force that scenario to go into their favor, but Zeka and Klid just lined up for the Emperor's Divide. Owner is there even pre-6. He helped set up this kill, and this is all about the bot prio, because without bot prio you can't challenge this. Klid wants to so desperately get in there and help out, but with just one press of his R button, Faker manipulates the rift. He says this is my playground.
Yeah.
And, watch this from his first-person view. He's like, wait a minute, they're actually both here? And he just is able to get right past, with the flash here, the gravity field. And that's not enough safety. Zeka thinks he could protect himself there and help get Klid out of there with the gravity field alone, but Faker could just go straight through it.
And it's an extreme version of what we oftentimes see in the Azir versus Victor matchup, which is why we often criticized it a lot in the beginning of the season, which is you press your ultimate, Victor has to flash. Now that happened, but also Victor died, including Victor's jungle, which is Klid in this case, and now he doesn't have flash. So the next ultimate, there is a huge amount of pressure. There's a level 6 Nocturne with Paranoia now. So Zeka he's just on wave clearing duty, and he has a lot of vision right now, but it's not a fun time.
Viper they're trying to bait the super hard because Viper has level 6. And there is an all-in. If Life hits 6 here, or if Klid is nearby, they could actually try to look for. And with Owner here, Guma and Keria think, okay, we could force this. But as you can see, Keria doesn't have his ult yet either. Owner will back, and Klid sticks around a little bit longer here. It looks like we're not actually going to see a commitment. So a little bit of a lull state here as T1 will have Faker's ultimate back up.
Owner's going back bot.
Yeah, interesting. And I think that HLE expect that they're going to try to rotate top here towards that Herald fight with the Emperor's Divide coming back up. This is a bit tricky, and they definitely think that, right? HLE sending Viper and Life closer and closer, trying to send them up.
Oh,
They have no idea. Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to burst him down, but it is Zeri after all, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's just barrier and glide on the wall for Paranoia.
And this actually leads to Herald for Klid. And you could tell that they thought they were going up topside because as soon as Nocturne is seen, Kingen sprints to the pit and drops a ward, and he's like, okay, nobody for T1 is actually grouped on this. Klid, you need to be on this now. And so he goes over the wall here and we'll start this up. So it is going to be Herald here for barrier, basically, and Nocturne ult. So this is a huge win for HLE.
All right, but no flash here on mid, which is why we can just flash on in. Lethal tempo, Zeka step. This is what I was talking about. It's just a free kill. They're going to hand that one over to Owner. And even though the bottom lane was a little bit not great, they're still able to convert a kill here in mid.
Yeah, there's nothing that Zeka can do. Spell Shield comes through there for Owner. He can just walk right through the gravity field to get out. And he tried his best to sidestep the Emperor's Divide, but you're not going to sidestep the unkillable Demon King.
Yeah, I mean, also
100 games of Azir, by
it's
the way.
insanely difficult to sidestep. Like, you gotta be like a mastermind.
I mean,
okay?
he did his best.
He's hugging the turret too. It's like, can't do anything.
Yeah. Spell Shield for Owner. It takes very little damage from this.
Yeah. We'll trade down here in bot, it looks like. Area is pretty low.
Viper ulted.
That's going to be an opportunity here. I mean, calling available for Guma.
There's Karya's Tidal Wave. But, I mean, this is a really tough fight. Life has Flash, Wild Growth, so if you actually flash the Tidal Wave, get on top of Karya, you can kill him. Same, of course, of Guma. It's a really tight lane down here right now. I mean, it's a tiny CS lead here. Zeri is very happy with the game state. The problem is that Faker is much happier, right? Owner's much happier. And top side of the map going very well for Zeus. So, yeah, the Zeri is doing okay, but that's not good enough when the rest of your map is in shambles and T1 have all the objectives on lock here. The Herald is picked up by Clid, but nowhere to put it right now without a one-team fight.
Hey, you can see he's trying to hover down on the bottom side of the map, but Owner's been here in mid the entire game, basically. Especially with Rift Herald off the map. Like, the top lane has not seen any jungle participation at all. And it's just this.
And
like,
with Paranoia, you're winning topside anyways, and with Paranoia, you're both mid and bot at the same time. You are both places at the exact same time, because that's what Nocturne can offer you. Not to mention that he runs through jungle extremely quickly, does have cooldown boots here already online. And he's going Gore Drinker, unsurprisingly. I'm sorry, not Gore Drinker, the Stripe Breaker. And Faker.
Okay. Viald's pretty good against an Azir as he flashes. He's going to hit the buy into the turret as Owner is here. Fear comes in. Can he get the damage in is really the question, as Clid is so low and the Q will be enough.
So picking up a kill here, but not onto the Victor. It's, you know, a assist that he picks up here. Kingen is going to try to get plate gold up here. We'll be able to get just one. But still, great play from Faker. Amazing ultimate there in that crisis moment. Crisis management very good, and T1 actually going to group faster here with still having bottom side control on this second Drake. Life wants to come in here, teleport from Faker. I think this is a bit risky, HLE. You're not online just yet. Faker doesn't have Emperor's Divide though, and they are going to try to force it.
Yeah, looks like they will, but there's no jungle here, right? So Owner just going to push Zeka away with a Tidal Wave, and that's going to be the end of that, as they might just get on top of this fight, though. Polymorph comes in. Zeri ult onto 2. Viper trying to get this damage into this bottom lane, as Guma will be the sacrificial Lucian. Down he goes, and that kill is going to go to the hands of Viper.
Yeah, Flash does have to be expended here from Viper, and they get the kill, but it's Drake going over to T1. It is once again a Cloud Soul here. So impactful, but not the game-breaking Drake that you were looking for here as T1. And Guma getting shut down now means Viper picks up some early gold, and that's the Flash into Wild Growth combo we've talked about so much here in the laning phase. And now the Herald going over, so it's hard to say who really wins out here, but I'm kind of leaning towards HLE. I really feel like this is better for them because they have so much money now injected into their Zeri this early on into the game. And she already had a fairly okay laning phase. And they lost some summoners, but she never died. She only fell 10 CS behind. So watch this one more time here. Faker's timing of his ultimate. Shuffles away. Pulls the buy so close here to the turret. Forces a flash, so the kill doesn't go to Zeka. And he's able to trade one back with Owner ulting through.
Yeah.
Played it about as perfectly as he could.
It's good crisis management, as you mentioned, but probably shouldn't have agreed to kill the ward in the first place, to be honest. But you do what you can with the situation. You put yourself in as, yeah, they got the Drake here. Viper able to clean up the kill. Pretty straightforward as they go for the fight when Clid comes in. It's now Faker again in a little bit of trouble, but this time he's got a Nocturne as tons of damage in the Chaos Storm on top of Faker here, as one last tick would have done it, but it's not quite enough.
Oh man, Faker calculated.
He's going for this. He's actually, I think he's got the damage. Yeah, Strikebreaker complete. Owner is 5-0 on Nocturne already.
Oh man, this guy is just popping up, and this is just one of the pocket picks of Owner. He has played this so much throughout last year in best of threes. He usually seemingly only pulls it out when it's game 3, when it's a tough series. Like every time his champion pool is thinned out and he's forced to play a pick like this, he picks it up and he does it well. He's played it against Genji, he's played it against Damwon in the past, and now playing against HLE. 100% kill contribution this game, and once again Faker looks like he's out of position, looks like he's caught, but they turn it into a superior trade. Plate gold going the favor of HLE. Zeri picking up 262 with that Herald drop, but everything else on the map T1 colored as once again Faker is caught. He doesn't have flash, but he's able to dash here. Emperor's Divide pushing him. He realizes with Owner's ult, actually I should push him left here because we have this kill. It's 100%. Owner gets movement speed here, has Stridebreaker, gets the connect and the fear, and Zeka is dead. Beautifully played. Stridebreaker value.
와,
We've talked.
이거 라인 내가 밀게 이러면.
He's like, that's busted, man. I'm going to push the lane.
I guess he's referring to the Nocturne, right?
Yeah.
Like,
because Faker keeps almost dying and then trading up. But we were jokingly talking about this season, and one of the reasons why Faker's on a lot of people's lists right now for all pros, because he just seemingly almost dies, but then turns it into a positive for T1. That's like his new thing.
he's kind of like turned his aggro meter up from like 7 to 9 or something, you know? He's like slowly tinkered with his play style, which is very interesting. Something you can only really notice after watching a player for so many years, and obviously as a player playing for so many years, as Zeus is spacing pretty good, really, really good, as even the Meganar will be avoided and Ghost will be used as King's like, God, man, I don't know what to do against this guy.
He had, if he hits a Q3 knock up there, or if Zeus didn't space that perfectly, he could have diagonally all-outed him through that wall into the turret, and that's how he was trying to play around it, but Zeus spaces it perfectly, gets the hyper procs, and then eventually Kingan's out of time. He's pushed away, can't actually play around that wall anymore, has to ghost out. Zeus gets the whole turret, and now he's pushing the inner. Kingan's rushing back to try to defend, but T1, once again with a massive gold lead, not as big as it was in Game 2 at this stage, but we're moving into Soul Point. We'll see if they get another ace. You know, HLE, all of the one-item spikes hit, but those are the spikes you want against T1. You know, you have all your mythics, and they are very important for all of these champions, especially the Ludens here for Victor. But Zeri isn't going to be able to compete with this Gale Force Lucian, with this Azir, all the engage, the ability to just collapse on top of her with this Nocturne.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that out of the 3 drafts we've seen so far, this has been the most greedy in terms of scaling aspect for the side of Hamalite Esports. I think that's really dangerous to do into T1, but at least the gold lead isn't massive, right? We're 18 minutes in, it's about 4,000 gold. Kingan's at least able to trade the one back. If they can hold on for 20 minutes, you know, 15, 20 minutes, we might have ourselves a good situation for Hamalite Esports, but as of now, T1 are in total control.
It's very similar to what I said in Game 1, right? Like I said, oh, you can hold on for 20 minutes with that late game Draven. It could happen, but we said less than 5% chance, you know? It just seems extremely unlikely because T1 is so good at snowballing. I would say the same thing here, but I'll add one extra aspect, is that with Nocturne, snowballing is even better than it was in their draft for Game 1 because he can shadow 2 lanes non-stop while they push hard with these objectives. Soul Point is being taken by them. HLE are not going to contest. They have gotten 2 outer turrets here, one for Kingan and one for Zeka, so picking up some money here, which is as good as it's going to get. But things get harder on this next Soul fight. And Zeri, even with 2 items at that point, is not going to be prepped to 5v5. And that's when things get really weird. That's when things get really tough.
TP into the bottom inner from the side of Hamalite Esports. The Drake is already gone, right? So,
they know that Zeus doesn't have TP and Faker just used his, so they just want to make sure they can save this turret.
But yeah, they're just getting out-rotated right now.
Yeah.
Like,
now Kingan has a flank angle, but there's a Sun Disc.
Guma's a bit low, but you know, you've got some sustain from the Nami. It feels like Hamalite are like They do not want to let this go without a fight, but they will have their fight, I suppose. Will it work out? As, we do have a huge Emperor's Divide in the back line, actually, as Zeka takes forever to go down. Nazeri getting tons of value from Viper, but he's only got one item. And they're just electing to go into this fight against T1 right now. And it's not the cleanest fight ever, but T1 will still win it.
Yeah, still some kills being... Don't think Kingan's going to be able to get anything else done. Faker so far ahead. Right now, 7 stacks on this Dark Seal. And Kingan, you've got to back away. The approach here was very sloppy. And Kingan was trying to set up for a flank. They committed teleports. They wanted to defend these turrets. They stopped the bottom inner from going down, but they weren't able to prevent that from happening here in mid. And as Kingan concedes the point he's seen on this ward, Zaya says, okay, Kingan can't stop me. I'm going in. Wild Growth is really good, and the burst damage coming through from Victor is enough to take out Zayas. But the follow-up shuffle into Emperor's Divide from Faker is beautiful. He has flash and he can get over the wall. And this is a one fight. Great flash here from Guma to guarantee the Zeri is dead. That's the only way this goes worse. He does end up getting all outed into the turret, but the sacrifice is worth it. T1's gold lead continues to grow.
Yeah, it does. And How Life, just a bit of desperation, I think, in terms of the decision, right, to go for that kill is, I think you just need to kind of give up some stuff with this kind of draft, otherwise don't draft Victor Zeri. But a little bit too little too late at this point. T1 will enjoy their lead of about 5,000, 4.5, and they do certainly have an insane amount of value and damage.
Now,
their composition right now with the items they have, so they could potentially try to go for this Baron.
Yeah, that's the next question. If you're a T1 fan watching this series, the Baron has definitely been a point of contention. It's definitely been a point that has made you nervous. As T1, the one place they didn't have the outer here is actually topside. With the second Herald, they're going to drop it here very late to try to get an inner too. This is where, got to be careful as HLE trying to contest and trying to defend. Owner here seen on the flank.
I don't know. Okay, they're going to try to get in onto Zeus, and a lot of poke comes out from the Victor. Zeka Victor.
Yeah, they save the turret for now. It's just a 5 versus 5 here for, 5% of this turret's health.
I think T1 just identifying they're stronger right now, and they're going to force fights if they can. As Ingo's owner, he's got to stop. Watch a 2-man bubble. Maybe even a 3-man in the front line as Curry is going to hit it. And we are just wiping up Life Esports on the top side of the map. T1 say, you want to fight, you will have it.
Yeah. 6-0-7 on this Nocturne.
I think the game is over.
I think it is.
22 minutes?
And wow. Zeka, he is just not even able to play the game.
Just desperate to try to stop them.
They're just going to push down the turrets and take the Nexus.
Looks like it. He's just standing next to the soldiers. He knows. Doesn't have any CDs. Down goes the Nexus. 22.5 minutes, and T1 say, we will snowball.